Hello and welcome to Skull That Works. My name is Blake, and I am here to teach you how to play this instrument right here, this instrument here is called the Tagelharpa, and or Talharpa, the other language. Its history is it's a very old instrument. It dates back to pre-Christian Scandinavia, probably prominently played around that area, but other places as well. I, the A little brief disclaimer in me teaching you how to play this instrument is that one, I am neither an expert, professional, or a master at this instrument. I just purchased this like a year ago, and I've been only have about like a few months on and off experience with this, so I am not that great. So forgive my lack of experience there. Now, another disclaimer is this instrument is not going to be is very simple instrument to learn, but it's going to be a difficult instrument to master completely. The main issues is if you are a beginner to bowed instruments or also a beginner to instruments period, some of the techniques and some of the musical theory is a little bit tricky for you. We don't have any theory of how to play this, but it should. But bowed instruments, if you have been experienced with bowed instruments before, you may have an easier time with this. Another thing is we don't have music to go by from our old from the old times to go off, but you can probably use examples like old Estonian music that still use this instrument. Also, old Scandinavian folk music helps with the rhythms as well. We can speculate that. You can also learn new songs, new techniques, as well as from old American folk songs, as well as whatever folk songs is in your country. Um, Also, improvisation is key to this instrument. So there's no tablature out there that I know of, and the reason why I have been studying this course is is because I kept finding nothing online. Every time I looked on something, it was like one lesson that they have, and they was going to do a series, and they didn't do it. So moving on from there, and again, there's no music that we can go by. There's no tablature for this instrument because it doesn't have a fingerboard either. That's another challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this lesson course is going to be for the time being. This is just a brief introduction to this course and to the instrument itself. So we're going to start off in this video by giving you like I said, a brief history of the instrument and compare it to other instruments like it, as well as a detailed run through of the parts of the instrument itself. And then probably in the next video, I'm going to do a series basically of the basics. We are going to run through like what you need to play the instrument, how to hold the instrument, and how to hold the bow as well, and also how to apply the rosin to the bow, and also we'll go into how to tune it. Now I'm going to shell these I call it shell them out, which means I'm going to put these videos out as quickly as possible. The first 3 videos will be within a few 1 to 2 days of each other, probably maybe 3. That way you can go ahead and get you start playing. But the fourth video in this series, which will be the 3rd lesson on notation, will come after we get you bowing a little bit more, practicing bowing and bowing techniques to get that stable for those who are new to bowing. All right, the brief history of this thing. Okay, again, I said this is an old instrument from basically around Scandinavia, predates the Viking Age probably. It is primarily again a bowed lyre. It is made of wood. The older models like this one this is not an older model, this is a newer model, but older designs that were back then had the horsehair strings, and it comes with a bow, as you see here. Now, this version is a 3-string lyre, that's what we're going to be doing. That's another disclaimer here. Is we're going to do a 3-string version, but sometimes others can apply to other strings as well. So this one, they come in the 3-string version, and they come in the 4-string version, which is primarily played in like countries of like Estonia and other countries like in Eastern Europe, as well as somewhat in Scandinavia still today, not as prominent. But I've seen these range from 3 strings to 5 strings, but more commonly it's 4 strings or 3 strings. Now, as you can see, this is another instrument that's played by other bands like Wadruna, which Einar Selvik plays one, but which he calls the Tagelharpa, which is like a 3-string Tagelharpa. So the tuning here will also work later. The later tunings will also work with this instrument as well, the 3-string versions. The techniques are rarely the same, so we can, despite the strings, so you can apply that to whatever instrument that you're trying to play right now. Another canned instrument to this is called the yuhiko, which is a little different. The Tagelharpa and yuhiko is pretty much different. The thing about Tagelharpa is it has a thick box like this. Sometimes it's a little bit thinner. It can be thinner, it can be a little wider. And it has a big square box like this that has the strings, the open hole right here where you can access the strings. But a yuhiko can be a little bit thinner, maybe a little bit less wider as well. Also, Tagelharpa is going to be a little bit less wide as well, but yuhikos are a little bit skinnier than this one as far as the width of the body and the width of so far, but it is about as tall. But the hole only covers to the 2nd string here, and they're a little bit closer together, a little bit more vertical. Again, if you look at Einar Selvik's Tagelharpa, which he calls the Tagelharpa, but technically, if you look at the shape, it's more akin to the yuhiko. And the yuhiko is also, I forgot to mention that the yuhiko is a instrument from Finland instead of primary Scandinavia like Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Iceland. The other instrument is also known as the Shetland goo. It has 2 strings instead of 3 or 4. And there are other instruments out there as well. If you know of any, you can put them down below, in the comments below. Some of the parts, I'm going to go over the parts here. First of all, we ignore this guy because this guy's our tuner. But the typical Tagelharpa will have a body of wood, and it has this particular shape right here. And on top of the body, this part here, this flat piece, is actually a separate piece. It's called a soundboard, and this was a different material from the body. My body is alder, and the top is spruce. And as you can look, that's where the sound is transferred. Now, for experienced violin players out there in cello and viola, you'll notice that this does not have a sound post, so it has a little bit more boxy sound to it, which is really the characteristic of the tone. Now, this is your primary sound hole right here, but you have 2 other side holes here that are akin to F holes in a violin. Now up here, we're going to go travel from here down. Is we have your tuning mechanisms or tuning pegs. These could be either friction pegs like mine, or they can also be machine pegs. The difference between machine pegs and And friction pegs is the friction pegs will have a little bit more slip and less grip to them. They they do grip nicely, but they have a little bit of tuning stability issues. So the tuning, a modern tuning mechanism will be more suffice for playing longer type shows if you're a professional or a more outdoorsy set, because this thing is temperamental when it comes to tuning. Now we're going down. We'll go down here and start here. Here's your the tail end right here. This is a little knob here that holds your tail piece, and here's your what we call the tail piece, and that's what holds the strings together to the rest of the body here from the tuning mechanisms. On top of the tail piece, we have our three for now. It can be four. Again, depending on how many strings you'll have. You have your what we call our fine tuners. Now, a lot of older instruments won't have fine tuners, but this one does, because it actually helps me a lot, because what that does is these set the tension of the string to the tuning the note that you want, and this will fine tune it minutely. And these are actually a lifesaver. And these are actually longer than your standard violin friction not friction pegs, but your longer than your the fine tuners of a violin, and they have which means they have a lot more travel. One trick for those, and I'll go over it in the next video when we start learning how to tune, is that these are best done to start these out with halfway down, halfway in between. So you want to travel halfway down, so that way you have more travel up and down. So if you have difficult with figuring that out, all you have to do is unscrew it all the way up, and then unscrew it all the way down, and just figure the halfway point between the two. Okay, and then up here we have the bridge, which also suspends the strings, but also transfers the sound from the strings down into the soundboard, and it resonates throughout the rest of the instrument. It's relatively flat compared to most violin and viola and cello bridges, which have a little bit more of a slope. So it makes it that's the where you can make it where the bow runs across the strings really evenly. Now here are my strings right here. My strings are made of horsehair. That is the traditional way to have your strings is horsehair, and it creates a really nice rich sound. The only problem is that they're very, very hard to tune. So some makers will have the option. Well, yeah, some makers will have the option for some people to put either like gut or nylon strings, as well as steel strings. I've seen homemade ones made with fishing line, but those other alternates are a little bit more tuning stable than these strings are. Now, other options you can get on these, especially with my maker, and I will put the maker below on mine to let you know where I got mine. But sometimes he will also add a pickup in there to where you can play it on stage, like a huge stage kind of situation. So that's basically what the Tagelharpa is. Stay tuned to the next video, and I want you to subscribe and like to my channel down below, and ring the bell. That way you can get notifications when I have this. Now, if you've already seen this video, or if you already know this video, then you could have skipped this video anyway. But I'll put the next video out in the next couple of days, so you'll so it gets you really prepared, and we'll just pump out all these videos as close to possible. That way you can go ahead and get yourself start playing. But after that video, after the video of the basics, also put into another video of after that will be your bowing, and then after that, get you bowing. We'll get you with playing some scale, probably some scales, like some notation, teach you how to note it and scale it, and then maybe some tips and tricks towards a later video. All right, and that's all for today. And again, like and subscribe below. Leave a comment if you like this video. Share it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.